Welcome to another broadcast of What's Self-Love Got to Do with it. And today I want to give you a tool to use when you're evolving your inner narrator. And before I do that, let's take a few breaths and get here. Oh, hey. Great, everybody's coming. Okay. So I titled this one Self-Loving the Self-Hater because that is the fastest way IMHO to remedy, fix, correct your patterns of self-judgment. And as many of you know, I've been out in the field for a minute working on this topic, and I'm very excited to give you a way that you can get to your destination faster. And what is your destination? Because I'm always saying, nah, you here though. You already here though. So what destination am I giving you? I'm giving you the destination of that awareness. So the inner game, the spiritual path, all of it is a little bit trippy in that you're not looking to perfect anything except perfect acceptance. And with perfect acceptance, there is a feature of it that is you perfectly accept. You are in complete acceptance of not being in acceptance. And that's what I'm talking about today, kind of that layer of work. So what I basically just said was, let's say that you have, let's draw today. How's everybody doing? Jess, what up, girl? How's FL? And Grant, are you in Virginia? Do you miss us? Okay, hold on, I'm drawing. So today's tools would be right for you if you are trying to bring more peace into your life. So much of your peace you like. That's it though, thanks, yeah. So much of your peace you fritter away trying to get your peace. Left-hand surgery today. I can't remember, Grant. Are you a left-hand artist? Or are they performing your surgery with their left hands? Okay, so let's say that you have a spill on the spiritual path, and this is true for the self. So imagine what's here is actually, so I have spilled green liquid. This is maybe watermelon Kool-Aid or something, but imagine what this is you, as you are right now. So many of us come to seeking from a place of pain, because if things were going pretty great above, okay, how you feeling about that? If things were going pretty great, you really wouldn't ask some of these questions, these deeper questions. And so let's begin by appreciating that you've been provoked to explore some of the darker corners in life and the deeper nature of it. And that probably hasn't been that comfortable, and that you don't have to worry. It does go somewhere really beautiful, IMHO. So let's say this is you or a spill, which basically, from one vantage point, we look upon it, we're like, this is wrong. The liquid should be in the vessel. The self should be funnier, faster, less aggravated by that, more willing to adventure, more of this, less that, over this, under that, blah, 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 blah. This is what is. And frames of interpretation, i.e., ways to compare what is to something else, is what creates judgment. Judgment is saying, I know what this is. One, you're assigning a meaning to it, but you're also assigning, in many ways, an idea of what it should be. So this is what is. This is always what we're working with, the isness. And the spiritual path is not about cleaning up the liquid. It's not about cleaning you up. It is about perfect acceptance of those things. So it is, the destination is the awareness that this is, period, and you can love it as it is. Destination is the awareness of your inherent okayness. In the words of Jane Roberts, the eternal validity of your soul. Isn't that great? Because that's a lot closer than trying to clean this up, which means shit does not have to change at all for you to feel better. Suffering is looking at what is and saying, no, this shouldn't be. And I chose the spilling because in many ways you could say, like, well, it shouldn't be on the ground. It's damaging this, it's doing that. Well, is it? You don't really know the whole trajectory of that. And also, does your emotional resistance clean it up? Does it do anything to the liquid? Hey. So today I opened and said we're going to look at a tool that you can use if you are, if you are evolving your inner narrator. So that's a fancy way to say, like, you notice that you're being judgmental or critical about other people and you want to stop. And I'm saying, like, okay, great. Here, let's look at this outside of ourselves. I'll put a crazy hat. What color hat should he have? And I'm going to give him a mustache. Okay, so this is the target of your criticism. This is like your dad or your brother. And you, in all of your infinite wisdom, look upon your dad or your brother and you say, bro, you shouldn't be that way. You need to be like this. That's bad or wrong. And let's say that you're at a part in your journey where you recognize you don't want to do that anymore. You want to offer him compassion, understanding. You don't want to be judgmental or critical. You want to accept them as they are. So that's you talking to the person outside of you. When you have taken on that practice, the practice of unwinding your negative and critical thinking, or your negative and critical judgmental thinking, generally the next stop is to be critical about when you are being critical. So you have now taken on this practice and you say, I'm gonna not do this anymore, and then you do it, and then you are critical of you being critical. Are you guys following me? It's very subtle, but it's basically like you take the same dialogue that you are using to judge the outside world. They shouldn't be that way, it shouldn't be like this, and then you start to use it, you are more aware of it rather, of you using it against yourself. So let's say I see something and I'm like, oh, that's wrong. And then Shaylee, my inner narrator, says, Shaylee, you said you weren't going to do that anymore. That's wrong, you're doing that. Come on, get it together. So you see, it's the same block of thinking, the same tool. And instead of using it against them, now I'm more aware of using it against me. But the kicker is it's always been inside out. Like, you wouldn't do it to them unless you were doing it to you. But now, because you've pressed hold or pause on that practice, you are more aware that you're using it on yourself. And so you are not to beat yourself into kindness and love outside. That's so silly. That's so silly. If you want to improve judgmental, critical, negative type thinking and behavior, you be nice to you about it, which means that when you notice that you're thinking things that are really critical and judgmental, you say, it's okay, baby, I love you. It's okay, let's take a few breaths. Wow, you seem pretty upset about that. Oh, you think you should have said something different. Oh, you noticed that you wanted to think this or feel this and you didn't. You step back from that inner experience, and rather than try to correct it, you love it as it is. This is our destination. Is the destination. And it's so weird. This is an aside. It is so weird to do this stuff, because sometimes I got so far from the human experience to be able to see some of these. And when I say the human experience, I mean more like what I thought it was, because I'm always having a human experience. That's the way the mind is such a slippery mofo, because it will create all of these frameworks for you to feel special, to justify your suffering, to not be happy, etc. That are just, again, it's just the same thing. It's just at a different layer. It's the same conversation, the same thought block, but you're just using it at a different place. So it's so weird, because moving away from life or thinking as I had known it and watching it from that level created some challenges and kind of like bridging across them. And I think that many of the people who are like interacting with my content, for one, but for two, exploring these topics, it's awkward, man. Like, if it feels weird what you're doing, it is, because you are evolving being. Essentially, you are upcycling. I think of it as upcycling. You are upcycling ways of thinking, feeling, reacting, etc., into something that is more aligned with truth, which to me is the awareness that we are all one, that we are expressions of the divine, that is good. It is, period. And it's very awkward to start to embody that awareness while you are watching stuff outside of you that is in contrast to that, which means like you're trying to it's like the world around you is mostly and pretty constantly reflecting back to you the old way, and within you is this little thing that's budding that's like, perhaps it could be, what if, and then you take your little what if flower into these kind of like storms, and it gets a little crumpled, and then you almost have to go back within yourself and regrow it. If you're in that process, stick with it. Sometimes with clients, I teach it like ping pong. You know, it's like, woohoo, I get it, I'm peace, I have this, I understand, and then you go into a new environment and just kind of ping pong back and forth between these poles of awareness, where it's like you forget essentially what you are remembering. It's a process, at least it was for me, and it is in the people that I've seen. So I'm going to wrap this up. Does anybody have any questions, thoughts, feelings, drawing requests before I close today? So what I talked about was, let's say that you notice that you've been critical, or you have patterns of being critical or judgmental of yourself or of other people or of things. Maybe you notice you just talk shit on everything. I definitely had that. I would rip everything apart to pieces without even knowing that I was doing that. So much of my thinking had been around like, how do I make more, get better, do this, but never in a way that was like, well, this is great, but what if it could get bigger or better? It was always like, this is shit, and it wasn't. It really wasn't. And those patterns of thinking are so ingrained and so familiar and deep. They're subtle. They influence the topic that's chosen. They influence the way the topic is entertained. And so it's not even that it's very clearly negative thinking. It's so much as like, you wouldn't think about this. You wouldn't think about this except for those lower layers. And if you haven't worked with me and you want to, this is where I can make some money for you. Like, this is where real change happens. Because if you're working with the superficial layer, you are missing the layers that brought that layer into your life or your awareness or your being. So anyhow, I was saying, like, let's say that you're noticing that you don't want to be critical or judgmental anymore of other people or of yourself. And when you make that choice, you still have that pattern. And rather than use that pattern in the way that you were using it, you start to use it about how you're using the pattern. And so you get critical about being critical. You judge that you judge. You are negative about being negative. That means like you do something you think you shouldn't do, and you're hard on you about it, which is the same fucking pattern, which is crazy, right? We so crazy. And it happens so naturally. It's, oh, you should have done differently. Why didn't you do this? You could have. No. When you notice that, and you'll have momentum in your old behaviors, the idea that we can flip a switch and start behaving differently is crazy, especially at a communication level, at a like when we're moving change or when we're moving behaviors. I talked about this, I think, in the last 3 Delicious episode. They exist in a context. So like, let's say you want to start getting up earlier. That is one habit in a whole tapestry of habits, where what you ate the day before makes a difference, the way you think about sleeping makes a difference, how your bed is positioned makes a difference, what time you go to sleep, blah, 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 what you think you're going to do. All of that goes around the habit that you're trying to change. And the way that we address habits is like, oh, I'll just set my alarm. I should just do it. And if that works for you, great. But generally it doesn't, because there are all these other pieces that occur. Like, there's a lot more around the thing. And one of the other things is just momentum. And some of communication in particular, to me, is very much in our nervous systems. Like, we just kind of like automatically respond. Think how miraculous it is to speak at all. Like, real time, you are you're putting your personal experience in language at like a fraction of a second. How fucking crazy is that? So it's very like deep within us. And so when we start to want to change these patterns, it takes time. You know, your body actually has to adapt, like change. When I'm going through massive shifts, I'm really tired. I'll sleep more. I'll rest more. I'll be quiet more. And I credit that a lot. Oh, my eyes flickered there. Is that necessary? Yes. Yeah, it feels necessary. I do think it's important to rest. I don't know. I'm feeling there's something that I'm saying that somewhere isn't resonating the whole way is true for me right now. And that's something you can train as well. So a lot of what we say because we're saying it. I really have put a lot of time and effort into like, no, you say it because you mean it. You say it because it's true for you. What's true for me and what I mean will always change. But at this moment, what is it? And I can kind of feel if there's a discrepancy between what I'm saying, like what is. It feels that way right now. But anyhow, accepting our flaws as a crucial part of who we are is so powerful and can jumpstart creating peace. Yes, amen. Because often I find that our flaws are the upside or the backside or whatever of our coolest skills. You know how often like everybody was like, get outside your head, which is good advice for me, you know, in some ways. But the other, like, because I allowed that of myself, I can offer this. I spent several years, I was like, all right, if we're going to be in our head, let's be in our head. And I just lay down for a long time and just listened and was quiet and silent. Which is to say, like, you might think something's wrong with you, but is it? Those are the frames. When we're saying something is wrong, it's because we think something else is right. But where did we get that idea? Did our capitalist culture give it to us? Is that characteristic of our personality not celebrated because it isn't directly tied to production line, like profiting, you know? It's so crazy. Humans are so silly. So silly to be human. Okay, so basically today, the moral of today's story is if you're trying to not be critical or judgmental anymore, allow yourself that same grace. Don't be judgmental or critical of yourself when you're being judgmental or critical. That's it. You just kind of like, okay, take it. So let's say I do it. I'm critical of myself. I do something and then I think, oh, you should have done better. Then because I've taken on this practice, another voice inside of me, or the same voice just a little bit deeper, will say like, well, you're not supposed to be critical right now. Stop. You're being bad. And no, when you notice, you just take a deep breath. Let's do it together. That's okay. That's okay. We're okay. It's okay. We'll breathe. And you can kind of feel your energy like come deeper into your body, or over time you can learn to feel that. Isn't it nice? Then we're just here with what is, because there is nowhere to go but here. And yet this will always evolve. The water will clean up, or maybe some plants will grow there, or maybe somebody will trip and fall there and create a chance meeting in destiny. Like, you can know. Nobody fucking knows. But we take all of our ideas and we use them to judge the minute in a way that we make ourselves miserable, and also close ourselves off to the infinite possibilities that are always present. Can I get an amen? All right. Thanks, everybody, for coming out. I'm super excited to be here. I have a ton of broadcasts on youtube.com/@Shaylee-Edwards if you'd like to work with me one-on-one and coming to know and evolve your inner process, or trust the part of you that already knows how to do it. My favorite, top 5 favorite thing to do is to kind of like unlock somebody's awareness of their intuitive knowing, their intelligence, their own guidance system, which means I ain't giving it to you. I'm not making the connection. I ain't doing shit. but saying like, behold, it's here. It's always been here. And that gives you so much peace because you're not trying to use your mind or the outside world to figure out what you're supposed to be doing or who you're supposed to be. I have one more month in NOLA, June, July, and middle I'll leave. Ooh, I'm so excited for you. I'm like, even now, I get a little emotional about it. Super excited. I hope your hand surgery goes well. I trust that it will. All right, everybody, have a beautiful day. Grant, if you ever want to do a collaboration with like art and like phrases, blessed phrases, let me know. Okay, love you guys. Bye. Oh, Grant, also, sorry about that. I am managing the art market now at Disco Decatur, which is super exciting, and it's super artist friendly. So if you have any artist maker friends who want to set up tables there, they can go to discodecatur.com, or you can like funnel them my way. And it's friendly for artists because it's only $45 to register for a 5-hour market. We've got 2 per day, and it comes with, or we give tables, tablecloths, like it's already set up, little chairs, umbrellas, so the person really only has to bring their wares and their funk, whatever it is. So yeah, let people know that we're doing that, and we're doing special stuff for Essence Fest, if anybody's interested. Or if you have visitors, if y'all are visiting New Orleans and you want somewhere cool, yeah, isn't that great? You want somewhere cool to go there. It is lovely. All right, love you guys. Bye.